welcome back to Raw Politics. Now for something a little bit seasonal. This well-known Christmas classic has become rather controversial. Several radio stations and broadcasters in the US and Canada banned it earlier this month. Let's see if you can spot why.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I think it's quite festive. I think, yes, you could say it was problematic, but it's a nice festive song. It's of its time. I think you can interpret it as she's just trying to hold her face and say, oh, I should really go, but she wants to stay.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I fall.
The neighbors might.
But baby, it's bad out there.
And do you understand why some radio stations have banned it?
I can understand why. There's a lot of outrage online, and it's not that feminist, I guess.
I really can't
Oh, baby, don't hold out. Baby, it's cold outside.
Because of her culture, education, she would like to leave, and we call this kind of guy, the character of Dean Martin in your small video, is that what we call in France a séducteur.
I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
Baby, it's cold outside.
It does come across a bit creepy. Like, at some point she says there's something in her drink, and like, I know it could be implied alcohol, but it could be implied as something else, and it just doesn't seem a bit, yeah.
Say, what's in this drink?
Cabs to be had out there.
I think it's just a Christmas song. I don't know, I just think I kind of portray it as being like, he liked her, so he wanted her to stay, and she was being a bit like, oh, should I stay, shouldn't? That's all, it's just a Christmas song. People read too much into things, I think.
It'll be fall.
Got to get
But
home.
baby, you'll freeze out there.
I think he's a bit of a sweet talker, but I think he just wants a little kiss. Just a cheeky kiss, but that would have been quite racy of the time.
Yeah.
So,
I guess, yeah.
I think my mum would worry though, if I hadn't come home. She definitely would.
If you read between the lines, she's not really making that much of a protest about leaving. She sounds like she'd like to stay.
But anyway, don't forget it's a musical, it's a song, it's the 40s.
At least there will be
Any comparison would be stupid anyhow.
really can't
Get
stay.
over that old out,
Oh, but
baby.
it's cold outside.
There we go, just a cheeky little kiss or something more sinister. It's certainly been a pretty big topic of debate over the last week or so about whether that song, Baby It's Cold Outside, is a little bit sinister, whether it should be banned at all. Let's have a chat about this. We've got Shona Murray still with us from Euronews. We've also got James Crisp and Teresa Kuckler to talk about this. Shona, you spoke to the good people of Brussels today. Most people seem to conclude that actually it's a Christmas song and it's pretty harmless.
Yeah, there's nothing sinister about it at all, people had said. I think that's kind of right, you know, I mean, it's down to interpretation. I suppose Christmas, of all the times in the year, are the times when you're supposed to go home and you actually want to stay a little bit longer somewhere, wherever it may be, the pub or a party. And so I think that, and also given the context, maybe, you know, culturally speaking, she should have gone home because her mother or her father was going to wait, or the neighbours would talk. And really, it's just a bit of fun. That's really what people are saying, and I
What do you think, Teresa? I mean, this is 1944, so this is a long time ago.
This is not harmless or sinister. This is educational. If I had teenage children, I would play this song for them and tell them that this is something that in not so far past, and actually maybe still today, this was the song and dance a woman had to do when she actually, I think, wanted to stay, but she had to pretend she wasn't, sexually. So, I have to do this thing. Oh no, I think I need to go.
Should it be banned?
Brilliant, absolutely not.
No. I mean, look, if people in America are saying this has got to be banned, they need to have a look at their president who's suing a porn star. I mean, let's just, you know, you're going to be upset about a song when you've got Donald Trump being president. There's a mad sort of double standard.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Those evangelists probably who are banning it are probably ones who voted for Donald Trump because of his conservative
So we also got this controversy, particularly in Ireland, one of the world's most famous Christmas songs, which is Fairy Tale of New York, and about the use of the word faggot. That is a derogatory word for homosexual men that many people found offensive and they wanted bleeped out of the song. I mean, again, Is that the route we can go down?
I mean, sorry to jump in, but it's just, this is the kind of stuff which really grinds my gears. I mean, what are people going to do? Look, you've got a guy who's playing a character in a song. You're going to go through all of Mark Twain and take out every derogatory term. You're going to go through Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness, and take out every use of the N-word.
But how do we portray characters? These are two intoxicated down and outs in New York in the freezing cold, thrown in a drunk tank on Christmas Eve. How do you think they're going to engage with each other? Of course,
they're going to talk to each other.
They're going to they're a slut and a faggot, and that word, wasn't used in a derogatory way towards gay people during that time. So even the character is not speaking in that way either.
It's just regardless. Can you ban words like James is saying? I mean, I'm from Sweden. Pippi Longstocking has been there's been debates about her because she refers to her father as the Negro King of the South Pacific. So they want to bleep out words in Pippi Longstocking.
And Lenny Bruce, the famous stand-up comedian who went through, obscenity trial after obscenity trial after obscenity trial in the US. He always said it's actually the word's prohibition that gives it power. If you forbid it, you make it twice as powerful.
Well, on this note of Baby It's Cold Outside, some campaigners in the United States have been having a little bit of fun with it, or a little bit of an educational turn. Let's have a look at what they've done to the song, a kind of 2018 remake. Let's have a watch.
I really can't stay.
Okay, you're free to go.
I've got to go away.
Understood, no means no.
This evening has been
super appropriate.
So nice.
But I do understand consent.
My mom will start to worry.
Definitely text her right now.
Father will be pacing the floor.
Here's the code and there is the door.
Really I better scurry.
I'm gonna stand over
now
here.
maybe just a half a drink
You
more.
are in control of this
The
thing.
neighbors might think.
Invite them over if you like.
Say, what's in this drink?
Nothing.
What you didn't see during that is James Chris let the biggest sigh this side of Brussels. Not impressed, James?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I hope that was a joke. Because if it was genuine,
I think it is.
If it was, but for a moment I thought, God, is this real? And I thought it's almost time. It's almost time to take drastic action. And I'll leave it to your imagination as to what that would be. But let's just say everyone would rue the day.
Good stuff. Well, there we go. These guys clearly will be listening to this song at Christmas, and it sounds like a fairy tale of New York as well. But let's stay on the topic of music now, because it's turned political in Russia. That's after President Vladimir Putin there said that the rap music based on sex, drugs and protests risks ruining the country. His comments came as Russian authorities pursue a crackdown on artists accused of extremism. Let's have a look. With his 32 million YouTube followers, rapper Husky has become the face of musical defiance in Russia. Rapping against government control, he performed from a car roof when police cancelled his concert. Now, this stunt ended in a 12-day prison sentence for extremist content. And he's not the only one. As the popularity of rap music grows in his country, the Russian president has addressed recent events. He said that control and guidance, rather than prohibition, was the way forward.
То нужно возглавить и соответствующим образом направлять. А вот как это сделать, это зависит от нас.
Faced with increasing poverty and frustrated with politics, the musical genre has become a form of protest for the young, but likely to resist further efforts to regulate it. So Teresa, there we have it, rapping Russia. What's happening?
Listen, he's just helping rap to grow. This is what happened when heavy metal came in the 80s or whatever, and all these debates about how it was the devil's music or whatever. It's just helped heavy metal grow. And this is what's going to happen, could happen with rap as well.
As James pointed out, prohibition, trying to ban things just makes them more popular.
1950s rock and roll, same thing. Devil's music.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. They're going to stay with us during the break. We hope you do too, because we asked you for your votes on what the royal moment of the year was. We'll have the results. We'll reveal the top 3 that you chose next. Stay with us. welcome back. Now, yesterday evening was an exciting first for Raw Politics as we launched Your Call, our spin-off programme. This was where you got to have your voice on the big issues heard. Loads of you got in touch, either on the phone or online last night, and it was great to hear from you. While Your Call will be taking a short break for Christmas, it's going to be back on air from January 7th. Until then, let's have a look back at some of the best bits from last night's first show. We've heard from the politicians, now it's your turn. I think we've got Terry from Rotterdam on the line. Would you be in favour of a second referendum?
Not a referendum as such. When this vote was taken, it was either leave or remain, with no real argument on the Remain side. There seemed to be more on the Leave side.
We've a caller, I believe it's Julius from Austria, who's on the line.
I think it's a profound mistake to say you can't ask the people a second time. This is democratically irrational. Of course, now the people know that the Brexit was based on lies and myths.
I believe we have the MEP Sean Kelly. He's an Irish MEP. He's from the European People's Party, in fact, from the Fine Gael party. Sean Kelly, can you hear us?
Well, there is a certain amount of a knock-on effect, I think, especially as far as to Brussels and other places. But at the same time, while it's good that people would protest, it's very bad if it leads to violence of any kind.
We will be back with Your Call in the new year, in 2019. Thanks for watching. Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to take part in any of these debates, do get in touch with us. Use the hashtag #RawPolitics on Facebook, Twitter, or indeed send us an email at rawpoll@euronews.com. Shona, just briefly on this, we've got elections in Europe next year, European Union elections, where participation is historically not great in many countries. It's important, isn't it, that people get a chance to air their views?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why we're going to have Your Call launching on the 7th of January officially. Well, we did launch it last night, but of course, at 7th of January, and we'll have the proper run into the European elections. Not that we're hoping that it's going to, expand the turnout, but you never know. Now's the time to engage in European politics more than ever. Cool. So we never know what's going to happen.
And I hope you guys are going to come and join us and answer some of those calls and talk to those European voters.
Very happy to, and I will go on the record happily now and predict that turnout will drop from the 2014 election.
Can we clip that up, save it, and we'll play it back at the end of May next year?
Bet?
€5 bet, let's do it, OK. I don't know why I just did that, but there we go. Anyway, let's come to the end of the programme, the moment you have all been waiting for, because it is the countdown of the best Raw moments this year. Here are the top 3, as voted for by you at home. Let's have a look.
I'm not responding. I'm responding.
If it's Mr. President, just wait. If it's unfair to...
What are you trying to be him? Sit down. I didn't call you. I didn't call you. Just give him the mic, please. I've answered the question. Go ahead, take the. You heard my answer. Good. You rudely interrupted him. That's enough. Put down the mic.
That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. All right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so
I understand.
To be honest.
So over the course of
just sit down, please.
Some absolute classics there from some of the raw moments this year. Teresa, which one? What was your favourite?
I like the Turkish Prime Minister. I like Erdogan trying to... It's very simple symbolism. I'm driving this car. I'm driving this country. This was a brand new airport. And it's like, I'm driving us into a future with a better airport.
He did look slightly ridiculous, though, didn't he?
He looked ridiculous. But he just failed because nobody looks cool in a tiny little car. So he's driving them too slowly into the future.
Michael Dukakis lost the presidential race in 1988 to George Bush because of his, silliness in a military vehicle with the helmet.
I didn't know that.
In normal circumstances, Erdogan would be a figure of comedy.
But he could have shown up in a lovely fast car.
Obviously, he's not living in a normal country.
Got to go for Tusk. I mean, when you see him glide past, I just think that is £325,000 euros.
Was he ahead of the game, though? Was he ahead of the game? Because the scooter's now all over the place. Yeah. He was on it months ago. Also, Donald Trump. We can't get away from Donald Trump. We're going to see an awful lot more of him again next year.
Oh, that gives me a stomachache. Oh.
I mean, what about Juncker? None of the hair ruffling? None of the falling over at NATO?
What about the European Commission's people treating us like that?
People democratically voted for that, and they wanted to see a bit more Donald Trump. And Donald Tusk on a scooter, OK?
Probably plenty more Juncker, I think, next year. Oh, well, he's wrapping up soon, so between now and then when he wraps up, we'll get a few. Yeah.
OK, guys, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And thank you, because that is us, really, for 2018. This is the year we launched Raw Politics, a year of an awful lot of political change, not just here in Europe, but indeed across the world. So thank you very much for watching. We want you to have a lovely Christmas, a holiday, if you manage to get one. And we'll see you back here in 2019 for what promises to be pretty amazing year for European politics, certainly an interesting one. Thank you very much for watching. It is time to say goodbye for now, but most of all, as I say, have a really merry Christmas. Thanks to our guests. Thanks for you for watching. We'll be back on the 7th of January 2019. Join us then if you can. Thank you and good night.